I thought better to start with that question. That may be your question, I believe so. But if it is not your question, then you are telling a lie. What is that question? Question is so simple. How long we should continue to learn East and West? Ah, Sophie says yes. At least Sophie says she is truthful, yeah. So I have a counter question. What is that counter question? And that is the answer of the first question. The first question is how long we will continue to learn what it takes me to learn everything of the Eastern wisdom. So the counter question has an answer. What is that counter question? How many times last week? How many locations last week? How many relations last week you were upset, got anxious, reacted? If you did not react, you were not upset. One is that you reacted verbally. We are fairly, clever and intelligent people. We try to hold and control. So we do not physically assault someone. But internally, emotionally, and mentally, we are burning inside. So my counter question is the answer. How many times, in how many locations, in how many relations you experienced being upset, being anxious, blamed and complained the world outside? That is the answer. Once that is gone forever, you have learnt everything of the Eastern wisdom. Then you enjoy the session, you attend the session just for the joy, to reaffirm, to reconfirm what you have learned is being realized in thought, speech, and action. Did you get an answer? So don't answer me how many times you were upset. Sometimes, no, we get upset by the thought and the feeling inside and we hide it. Sometimes we verbally react and we expose ourselves. And we are fairly intelligent and clever people. We don't want to physically assault anyone in a normal society. Don't answer me how many times it happened to you last week. So that is because of the ignorance of the mind. The ignorance is the impurity, whether you say impurity or delusion or ignorance, or that you get carried away. The mind got carried away because of that ignorance. Clear? So it is good point. Every day when you wake up in the morning and when before retiring to the bed, ask this question to yourself. How many times I reacted, got upset, even a slight sense of reaction to my honey or to any people in any location at any time? The world consists of only three aspects: the time, space means location, and people and relations and positions. So when I interact with the world, it creates an event. This is an event. We are having a virtual session. You are there, I am here at a particular time, at a particular location, and particular subject. This is an event. So the mind perceives the event from in the entire life, from the waking state till we retire to the bed. Are you clear? Say yes. Oh, just after the session, John will meet Sophie, Sophie will meet John. So that is also an event. And will go somewhere, or Mead will think of something. So every moment that is. So in that event, the mind is calm, smooth, relaxed, easy, aware, and takes the right decision. Do not invite any conflict, upset, anxious, reaction. You have learned everything of the Eastern wisdom. That is the goal. I made it simple. Is it so simple? Yes. And if not, then continue learning. If not, then continue learning. So, a single day, can you imagine? A single day from the waking state until you sleep passes completely in calmness, in peace, in self awareness. What is that state? That is the state of mindfulness. That is the state of self fulfillment. Otherwise, not only reaction, but upset, anxious, frustration, fear. And once you talk of the fear, then we have the fear of so many things. Relationship. Okay, I'm good. I have to tolerate. I have to endure. Everything is okay. Let me continue. But you are already upset. So every time you have to ask this question. Now, question comes that why the mind in the current state cannot end this. And that is what we discussed last time. It is because of the impurity of the mind, whether you say impurity or ignorance. No, other is responsible for my anger. Yes, so situation created an anger in you. That is a greater ignorance. Was it your mind or others' mind? Why you did not take over the minds? Why you did not dictate over the mind? Why the mind dictated over you? Did you get it? And that demands a level of self awareness. Self awareness is the beginning of the Eastern wisdom, and the self awareness is the end of the way. But why we lack self awareness? Again, go back to the ignorance because of the impurity, because the delusion is created by the mind, and then the mind takes over us. When the mind takes over us, we have an animal reaction. Animal mind is impulsive reaction, so we react. So, do we realize the current state of the mind is working on us? We need to work on the mind. I'm not asking you to say yes or no. That depends on you. Think in your mind only. So the current state of the mind contains, has accumulated, has created an emotional dependence, emotional bondage, and that causes the anxiety, reaction, duality, conflict, fear, frustration, jealousy, hatred, comparison, etc. etc. And when these things are present in the mind, obviously, our reaction to the world outside, to the relations outside, to the time outside will definitely be not in the state of calmness and peace. Am I right? Say yes. So if I'm right, it means we have to work on our mind so that we become a qualified seeker to discover that real self which we have been talking about. The real self is of the nature of peace, happiness, love, wisdom. So, in that context, we also discussed the highway. We compared the highway with the mental highway, the lane number one, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. Lane number two is the intellect and the knowledge, the level of self awareness. We separate ourselves what is going on in the lane one. If I do not separate what is going on in the lane number one, then I remember what Buddha says the world is suffering. So when I am aware of the lane number two, it means I discern, I separate myself, I recognize the cause of the suffering is the lane number one. I have already explained. Lane number one and two. So everything, situation is not responsible for our stress and suffering. It is how my mind receives that situation, gives the interpretation of that situation. Am I clear? And if the mind gives a wrong interpretation, it comes from the lane number one. It is impulsive, habitual, unconscious, and that produces the experiences of frustration, fear, duality, conflict, anger, jealousy, hatred, long list, dissatisfaction. There is no end. And the solution of all is to recognize the peace and happiness are within me, they are my essential nature. Millions of problems, one solution. Do you see that? Do you see it clearly? Another part that is very important to understand, we cannot have a proxy for peace and happiness. Why? Because peace and happiness are our essential nature. The way you are hungry, I cannot eat for you. The same way, to think, to imagine that peace and happiness and the love will come from the world outside, from the relations, it is just like fooling yourself. We cannot have a proxy for it. So if the mind says, no, you are responsible, why don't you sit in front of me, bring a tea for me, hug me, so that at least I feel that you love me. I'm creating a proxy for my peace and love. Not possible. Do whatever you want to do. Now, it doesn't mean that we should not live in relationship. I'm not saying that. First, we have to take care of the mind. So, what should we do? We should listen and learn these principles. One, so once we receive the knowledge, we have to retain the knowledge. The knowledge can only be retained by contemplation and reflection. So you contemplate, you think it over again and again and again, and continue the practice that will help you to bring about a change and give you the right answer of the first question that I asked, and I answer with a counter question. So when we contemplate and reflect, we recognize and realize why I get overwhelmed by a particular event in a particular relationship and in the different events that passes in my life since I wake up in the morning until I sleep. So the more you contemplate and reflect, it is the intellect. I'm not talking of any cult or religion. I'm not saying that you go and believe and praise some god or goddesses. No. I'm asking you that it is the intellect which is in you. Let me think it over again and again, over these principles, reflect on it so that the lane number two becomes active. You jump out of the lane one. You discern, you separate. The moment you separate, means what? In your head, or you can say in your mind, you have separated the thoughts and feelings which are coming from the lane one, which causes the mind to be impulsive and reactive. The moment you feel that sense of discernment and separation, the mind jumps into the lane number three, which is the state of calmness and peace. It is good to separate mind, lane one, mind, both have the thoughts. Remember this. This is very important to understand. Very important point. Perhaps I would say the most important point in today's lesson. Whether you are in lane one or two, you have to think. Look at it. Look, one example. Lane one says, how crazy this guy is. Lane number two, what I have to do with his or her craziness? It doesn't matter to me. Lane number two. No, in both the cases, we have to think. Now ask, did God ask you to think that this guy is crazy? Did God send you the SMS? Did you realize that it is unwanted, unwelcome thought? But in the lane two, you have to think. The moment that thought comes, no, what I have to do, it has nothing to do with me. Let him be or her be crazy. You gave a break. That is intellect. Are you getting it? In both the lanes, we have the thoughts. Now, did you realize that in one case, it is unwanted, unwelcome thoughts? In other lane, I consciously think, I became aware of the nature of the mind, and I dropped it by thinking otherwise. Clear? Otherwise, what will happen? My Annie is crazy, my Annie is crazy, so you are sleeping. So once these thoughts, that lane number one accumulates millions of the thoughts, it repeats. Next day you wake up in the morning, you start fighting with Annie. That is the result of lane number one. Did you get it? So we are finding the distinction between the lane number one and the two. First distinction, what is common element? We, in both the cases, we have a thoughts and thinking. So I recognize. Nobody sent me the message, SMS. The guy whom I am blaming that he is crazy, he did not send me the message that please, when I meet you, you tell me that I'm crazy. Do you recognize the unwelcome, unwanted thoughts? How many times we recognize it? The more you recognize, the better it is in the journey. Now see the same thoughts in the lane number one, unwanted, unwelcome thoughts. Lane number two, it is decisive. You make a choice, you exercise a choice. Clear? Lane number one and two. So lane number one, thoughts with the feelings. We do not know. We get carried away by them, is what is unwanted in the mind. Lane number two, thoughts with the feelings, but the knowledge is there, the right ones, right and good. You don't want anything that jumped into your lane number one, unwanted. We are not able to discern feelings, love, hate, reaction, dependence, whims, and fancies. Lane number one. Lane number two, reason, analysis, logic, self-inquiry. Did you understand? Lane number one, all the thoughts are supported by impulses, impulse-driven thoughts. Lane number two, knowledge-driven thoughts. Are you getting it? Say yes. Lane one, irrational. It imagines. It creates a delusion. No, I don't agree with you, honey, and the honey gets upset and reacts. And just after reaction, now you imagine he or she doesn't love me, she doesn't care me. This is all imagination. All imagination. You disturb your sleep, you wake up in the morning, you are ready to react. Impulse driven mind. Lane number one. Are you clear? I'm not asking how many times you did this. Honey does not mean that only husband, wife. Honey means any second person in your life with whom you interacted. Clear? Impulse driven, knowledge driven, imagination, mind imagines, mind tricks you, mind deludes you, mind distracts you. Lane number one. Lane number two. Now, what is the reality? Reality guides you. You remain calm in the cool. You have achieved a great length of this journey. Are you clear? This is what our masters says, that only the human being out of 8.4 living species Only the human being has a choice of free will, free intellect. I'm capable of receiving and releasing and retaining that knowledge. I summarized it. The entire talk is based on only one phrase of the Buddha, or two phrases. One, the word is suffering, and then the Buddha says, Know thyself. I am not the lane number one. So when I recognize that I'm not the lane number one, then mind says, Then who the hell you are? We start the journey. And we find our real self. How simple is it? Or you say it is simple. I reacted yesterday. I was upset, but I did not say anything. I still carry the burden inside me. Why you carry the burden? Are you special? So you wanted to react. If you react, then you will ease the burden. Think that is the lane number two, is the thinking. I'm just giving an example. Are you getting it? Are you special? No, I have so much of emotional burden. He or she insulted me yesterday in that event. You carry the burden, yes. You are a special human being. Lane number one. You imagined. You are in delusion. Are you getting it? That is what the master says. That is why the master says, Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Let everyone be happy. Let everyone be in peace. Let everyone be blessed. Let everyone be. So why we say in the we create a thought process in the lane number two to prevent, to dissolve, to destroy what the lane number two imagines and tricking us. It has nothing to do with any person. Outer person may be 100% wrong. But our focus is that how a person outside or a situation outside is dictating my life. And once you don't allow to dictate your life, you're always happy. I believe you all are wise. You got it. Let us start our practice. Eyes are closed. And eyes are closed. Let us do it with that clarity and understanding. Our practice today. Eyes are closed. Adjust and align your body. Adjust and align your body. And check that without any discomfort, unease. The position of the body and eyes are closed. So I would say closed eyes, position of the body, lane number one. Lane one is not inviting unwanted thoughts to cause any issue with that position. Now being comfortable. So even when the lane number one, even when the lane number one causes some disturbances. So what we do, we want to counter it by being comfortable. So what we do in being comfortable, learn it so deeply that any time in any situation, mentally, non-verbally, even no one notices, and you can be comfortable in that situation. And it is easy to do it. Look or be aware of neck joint. First is the neck joint, then experience of sensation, comfort, and steadiness, then look into the space inside. Space, or I would say emptiness, or blankness. Again and again, you do it millions of times, and you have achieved the result. When and where? 24 by 7. Shoulder joints, be there. Be there. So when you are there, sensation, comfort, and steadiness, and then space and awareness, my friends. The entire body. You are looking at the body the way I'm looking at your body. You have separated yourself. What is that separation? You have separated the lane 1 from the lane 2. Even at the physical level. So you experience sensation, comfort, and steadiness, and then the space there. So by being comfortable. So now we will go little bit. We see that being carefree. So carefree, what I said, you have already heard many a times, I said, free from all the cares that the lane 1 does. Oh, lane 1 is doing some thoughts and impulsive driven, and we replace it. We replace it by the mantra. Sarve bhavantu sukhina. You are saying in your mind, Sarve bhavantu sukhina. Third time, Sarve bhavantu sukhina. And then we go to the meaning. So you are thinking, I told you, thoughts are common in both lane 1 and 2. I believe you remember. Oh, so thoughts, basically, the content of the thought is different. So what is the thought? That is the meaning of this mantra. What is the meaning? Let everyone be happy. But then the lane 1 says, why everyone should be happy? Because happiness is our essential nature. Or you can say happiness is the essential nature of all the living species. Everyone is searching for it. But then why the other guy becomes agitated or angry and says me crazy? Because he is not learning Eastern wisdom. So you have a foolproof plan. And that is happening in your mind while living your life in the world outside. I believe you are becoming clear. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve santu niramaya. Sarve santu niramaya. Let everyone be in the state of well-being. But why? Everyone is seeking the same state. From the elephant to the ant, you just reflect on it. you show the stick to your pet and they are ready to fight. No, I'm seeking peace. What the hell you are doing? So here, what lane 2 invites a thought. You see, I told you thinking invites a thought. Everyone is seeking well being. Why? Because it is our essential nature. And what I am treating the path. I'm treating the path of the Eastern wisdom. Hence, I have to work this way. Others also are seeking well being by getting angry, and that is, or agitated, that is known as ignorance. I believe I made it very clear to you today. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Sarve bhadrani pashyantu. Let everyone be blessed. Blessing should follow. Why blessing? I am alive because of the blessing from the existence. I don't know when I'm going to die. So I have no right to be angry or agitated or fight with anyone in this world because they have a right to exist. Are you getting it? So you are replacing, you are countering the thoughts, the impulsive driven thoughts from the lane one. Ma kaschid dukh bhag bhave. Ma kaschid dukh bhag bhave. Ma kaschid dukh bhag bhave. Let none suffer from any misery in this world. Why no one should be miserable? Because that is what the existence is seeking for everyone. How it is seeking? Be in tune with the existence. That is what the Eastern wisdom, and that is what I'm learning. So you see that you brought a sense of emotional maturity. Are you getting it, my friends? A sense of emotional maturity. With that maturity, we continue, we can continue to purify the mind. How simple, just start with a deep, silent and start with a deep, silent and slow breathing. So you engage the mind. What do you engage the mind first? You inhale into the belly expands, and then you engage the mind to continue inhaling into the chest, first belly, then chest, and breathe out. Breathe out from the belly and the chest, then the chest. So you are engaging the mind consciously. Engaging the mind consciously. Any engagement consciously, any engagement is conscious, it is lane number 2. But if you do not practice with a clarity and understanding, that will not work in your life. And that is what is happening. You're simply inhaling first into the belly. You expand it, but you continue inhaling then into the rib cage. It is only one deep, silent, slow breath. And one deep, silent, slow exhalation. First from the belly, then from the rib cage. But now it is very clear. Your understanding is clear. Knowledge, what is happening? So knowledge is realized. Knowledge is that is your understanding is realized by the deep, silent, slow breathing. And that will leave you in a state of calmness. It is so easy. I can tell you. My master used to say that Eastern wisdom is common sense. Common sense, not an extraordinary sense, not an impulsive sense. Eastern wisdom is a common sense approach to life, not an extraordinary or nonsense. Extraordinary is highly intellectual. It is dry, creates a gap between so called theory and practice. And you already know that nonsense is impulsive driven, elusive, imagined approach. And I'll leave this also. Let watch how the deep silent, watch how the deep silent and slow breath returns to normal. And you are aware of the breath. And then we go for look at the head and the neck. Look at the head and the neck. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Look, feel, experience. The right arm. You're not moving the right arm. If I say so, the mind has gone to the right arm. Which mind? Lane number 2. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Mind moves to the to the left arm. Sensation, relaxation, and stillness. The moment I say so, you have an experience. I'm not saying that you imagine that experience, you just witness it. It is there. The chest and the belly and the spine, the entire middle portion of the body, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. The right leg, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. Left leg, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. The entire body, sensation, relaxation, and stillness. So you see the outermost layer of our body is the physical body, and it is already in the state of sensation, relaxation, and stillness. What is the second layer? Is the breath. And what is the third layer? Is the mind. The first layer is the body. is the physical body, if I say so, physical body. Second layer is the breath, and third layer is the mind. Normally we say lane 1 or lane 2. Now, if you engage the mind on the breath awareness, lane 2 prevents impulsive driven mind. How to do it? No, don't ask me. It is so, you just look at, you simply look at the breath that is going and coming in, going out, coming in. You know the breath is going in and coming out. Then you feel the sensation of the breath. You know the sensation is taking place. And third, you do not change the rate and the rhythm of the breath. What is that? That is breath mindfulness. What I said, breath mindfulness. What is this breath mindfulness? It will take you away from the lane 1. Result, lane 3, calmness, peace. Even if there are thoughts start coming, I have told you many a times, lane 1 will continue to have the thoughts until it is fully dissolved. But they are too far away from you because you are already in the lane 2. They are too far to have any dictating effect, if I say so. And that results in the state of the calmness and the peace without doing anything. That is what is the journey. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, your mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes, open the eyes inside the palms. Be there, note your experiences. We'll share our experiences. To progress, bring the hands down now. How are you, Sophie?
Hi, Girish. I'm very good. I In the first part of the practice, I didn't fall asleep, but I didn't I heard your voice, but the instruction didn't come in, but I was completely calm. I didn't have any thoughts.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Oh, that's wonderful. Yeah. And
That is
then
what I,
and
yeah,
then
go ahead.
yeah, go ahead. And then I started hearing the instruction and it got into my mind, but I was very calm.
Very
So
calm.
no, very calm. Yeah.
That is what happens. This is what I express that. You may have millions of the thoughts accumulated in the lane one. The time comes, a state of the mind comes when you don't even worry, care, you don't even hear. That is an expression of the calmness. That is the expression. You told me that there is no thought at all. Beautiful. How are you, Meet?
I found that this week has been a challenging week for me, and I've been stuck in lane one.
Oh,
Yes, and I got very clear during the time that you spoke and I meditated that I'm moving over into lane two now. And I got,
that is
yeah,
what we understood today. So you say that oh yeah, the weak is challenging. The weak causes you the problem.
yes.
Yes.
Uh,
So weak is full of problems. The weak brought the storm in your mind.
It's all the fault of the weak.
All the fault of the weak.
Oh,
That is, so you remained in the lane one during this week. The moment you switch to the lane number two, the life changes.
yes.
That is what we discussed today clearly. How are you, John?
Hey, Girish. I think I successfully dismissed most of the thoughts in lane one. So I was
Beautiful,
very happy. So I was very happy about
including the fire station.
that. They still don't listen to me, but it's all right.
Oh, I love it. That is the way one should switch from the lane one to the two. And by understanding is very important. Then comes practice. If the understanding is not clear, as Mead is saying that it was a challenging week. So only for the Mead, the challenging week from outside causes the stress and the suffering for the Mead. So it is the part of the lane number one. That I have to realize. How are you, Anne? Unmute.
Have now. Hi.
Yes, now it is done.
All right. It changes the whole constellation of the pictures.
Now I can hear you.
You can hear me.
I
Okay.
can see you. I can hear you.
Yeah, I had I feel very fine, very calm, though my thoughts just wandered away.
Yeah,
So I had to come back to myself, though nothing really was disturbing me. I don't know. It just
yeah,
happened.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
You are right. Wait, that's a beautiful expression. The moment we discern, we switch to the lane number two, even if there are millions of the thoughts, they do not disturb.
that's right.
So my mind imagines Charlie is here and sharing her experiences. Hi Girish, I'm okay, I'm fine. Yeah. So that is all for today. We will meet again. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Oh, so what happened? I have to. Uh, yes.